Yeah. So, okay.
Yep.
All right. And that's it. Just like that, we're live. Isn't that amazing how that works?
It's weird where technology is nowadays.
I mean, when you think about going live, because we're going to give some people a minute to jump in here. When you think about going live, think about it like we are open. This channel is open to millions of people. Oh,
It's amazing. Wait, can we like pull in people that are like hot men from Australia? Not that I'm looking for a hot man. I have one from America, but I would really love to see.
You should say that. My channel is international. So I have people who come from Australia, New Zealand, Africa,
love it.
Canada. Yeah. So I'm like, I have an international channel. So how cool is that?
So cool. You're like my coolest friend I know. And whoever else is a friend that's listening is jumping in. I mean that too about you as well. You're all cool.
That's right. Everybody who comes in is cool. So yeah. So we are here. We are live on a Sunday, and so if you have been watching, if you've been a fan of the show for however long, or if you're new, we are doing the top 7 health trends of 2026. And I started this a few weeks ago. This is actually trend number 3, which is GLP-1 and weight loss. Now, I took a couple of weeks off because I had holidays and family, but I also skipped another week because I had to do allergies. If you haven't watched the allergy show, you have to go back and watch that. It is April here in Michigan. Allergies are just out of control. People are struggling. So go back and watch that. And so I thought, well, I had to kind of insert that. And now we are back on track. So now we are back on number 3, GLP-1s. And you can see that I have a guest on the screen. So this is my wonderful friend, Sherise Assad, and she owns a med spa here in Milford. And I thought, who better to bring on than somebody who actually sees this every day. They work with a lot of people who prescribe GLP-1s. And so the purpose of this show, and I'm going to fully introduce her and let her talk in a minute, is to be able to, this is not a criticism. It's not pro, it's not con, it's supportive. The bottom line, though, is that you can't GLP-1 your way out of an unhealthy lifestyle. And that's what we're here to help you do. And so she's going to talk to us about what she's been experiencing with people and what's actually happening in the world of GLP-1s. I'll talk about how do we support you if that's a decision you decide to make. What do you need to know so that you are not having the detrimental effects of GLP-1. So this is really a supportive show, regardless of where you're at. And it's really easy to see everybody around you getting skinny and you're working your ass off and you can't do it. So with that, I'm going to let Sherise. So Sherise, tell us about Temple Med Spa, Temple Collective Med Spa. Yeah, you go. Okay. I also don't know how to spell her name either. So
it's fine. Nobody does. It's kind of like when you say Sherise, it's like you only have one. I don't think anybody realizes what my last name is because it's like Cher. You only need to know the one. Like how many shares?
Well, also you've had like 3 different last names since I've known you for whatever reason. So we're just going with Sherise at this point.
That's all name. So I want to say thanks for having me on. I mean, GLP-1s have been a trigger word forever. So when we did Temple Collective, I think, we went on 6 years, 5-6 years. I don't remember where we're at, but when we started the collective, we knew that we weren't just going to get into injectables. We knew that we needed to have a plan top to bottom for people. We didn't know, obviously back then, the GLP-1s were going to be a trigger word, what everybody was going to be, here. So we didn't want to be stuck in like a bubble. We wanted to help people on a holistic side of things. We wanted to give them medical options. There was just a lot of things that we came up with. So collective was the best way to describe it. So you cannot get around 2026 without the word GLP-1. And it's crazy because when it came out, and I mean, anybody who's a diabetic has known this for years. This is nothing that's a new drug by any means, but it was given to us as a courtesy a few years ago for people for weight loss. And then, here we are today. So, when people ask me what a GLP-1 is, and I go through the examples of what they are and what it stands for. And yes, it's a peptide. I always tell people, I'm like, GLP to me stands for you're going to either going to lose pounds or you're going to learn problems. And that is exactly what I think you're gonna learn today by this podcast. So yeah, there's some great ways of doing it. There's some great ways of not doing it. I try to steer people away from it as much as I can, but you got to do it right.
And I would say too that if people are going to gravitate towards that, I like that you leaned into it. I mean, as a business, I'm like, listen, Sherise and I we're business women. So if there's an opportunity there and she has the training, and I think also we'll get into this a little bit later, but I just want to say you don't want to be ordering these things off of the internet, and we're going to unpack that in a little bit as well. But the fact that she has so much training behind her to know when it's appropriate. And I think that's the biggest thing. We have, as perimenopause, menopausal women, the issue is I'm doing everything right and I'm still gaining weight, or I can't lose weight, or I feel like shit, or there it is. She asked me before the show if she could swear or if I swear. And I said, I don't try not to, but okay. I feel like I need a bell. Ding. Okay.
Do we have a swear jar on this? But listen, I mean, it's to the point, you mentioned it, we're businesswomen, but the second hand of this is doing this safely. We didn't jump on the trend when the trend first came out. We don't jump on any trend, hiring nurses and nurse practitioners, you get to see some of them have, full-time jobs other places. And this is like, a separate thing for their fun, that they do. And when this first came out for people with weight loss, I mean, they were coming back going, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're seeing people in the ER. We're seeing people with GI issues. People are going into surgery. Well, now we know why a lot of those people were having issues. So we weren't the first ones to jump on it. We did, like you said, training to be able to get to the point where we are, and hiring, obviously, people that have been doing this for years. So, yep.
Well, and it's a great point. So, I mean, I just go back to years ago when I started to onboard supplements in my practice, because I was finding that I was sending people, I was like, I didn't know enough about supplements to be able to go, yeah, you need a multivitamin. Sure, you should take fish oil. And I'm sending people out of my practice to go get these things. And then it's the Wild West out there. And I think it's the same thing with GLP-1s. Why wouldn't you, if you have the knowledge and the expertise, bring that into you so that you know that you can be the best guide for people? And that's how I look at it. It's like, we need to be, as businesswomen, we need to be the trusted source and resource for people. And that's why I thought you would be perfect to have on today to have this conversation, because people need to know, they need to have people that they trust, which also Sherise's information is down in the show notes. So make sure that you are subscribing to the channel. Make sure that you're liking the video. Please share this. Go to Temple and like them on Facebook, and all the things. But if you're not subscribing and hitting that thumbs up button, then we won't get all the people seeing us. So that's why I thought you would be perfect to have on here.
And I think between the two of us as well, we're not afraid to tell people bluntly, whether that's, patients, whether that's people in the same industry. I mean, that's, I think, the difference. If you're going to hold a spot and you're going to hold a space and you're going to do something, then you better be prepared to hold other people accountable when they're messing up. Give them the grace. Maybe they don't know. I think in a lot of ways, now you're hearing regenerative medicine more, you're hearing peptides more. Everybody wants peptides, the Kennedy thing. It's the newest thing. But if you don't hold people accountable, then we're all doomed, because we need to rise up together. It's not, me, mine. Like you said, it's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. We're going to then now hold our friends accountable if we see them messing up, because it's a dangerous world out there if it's not done right. That's for certain.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're going to get into that. So, when do you make that decision? Why would you make that decision? And I'll kick that part of the conversation off with a story about a patient of mine who has, I've told this story about her so many times, because she's a perfect example of who we want to talk about and why we want to talk about them and why we want to kind of like shake them and go, what are you doing? She has had for years a ton of GI issues, health issues. She's relatively young. She's in her early 40s, and she was having like 1 or 2 bowel movements a week. And I'm like, okay, this isn't normal. We need to fix your gut. Talk to her multiple times about food and food choices, because also you guys, you have to adopt a healthy eating lifestyle. Like, you can't just keep eating garbage and expect that good things are going to happen in your body. Food is medicine. And so she had said to me a couple of statements she made. One was, I eat those. She's like, oh yeah, I eat a lot of protein. I eat one of those Jimmy Dean frozen breakfast sausages every day. And I was like, oh honey, like, do you even know what's in there? Like, and it was like a croissant breakfast sausage. Like we're talking
love her
inflammatory oils and hydrogenated everything and chemicals. So that was one of her statements. And then the other statement was, she was like, well, I don't see why I can't lose weight and eat chicken Alfredo. And I was like, because you can't.
Same. When you figure that out,
please let the rest of us know. So she disappeared for a few months, came back in. It was about 6 months went by, and she wasn't, overweight. I mean, overweight, but she came in and she lost like 30 pounds, and she was skinny. And I said, so what you doing? And she was, I know. And she goes, I know you're not going to agree, but I refuse to go back. We're going to unpack that. I refuse to go back. I refuse to gain the weight back. I've completely changed my lifestyle and how I eat. And I said, oh, have you? And I said, so, how many bowel movements are you having a week? And she goes, oh, well, I'm still only going to the bathroom once or twice a week. And I'm like, then you haven't fixed anything. You've not fixed. I was going to say another 4-letter word that started with a D, but I'm not. I'll keep that one to myself.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, given that story, like, what are some of the stories you hear and you kind of like shake your head and yeah.
All of them. Well, listen, I always say this, like, first off, here's your quick disclaimer. I see hundreds of patients, not me personally. I have my medical professionals that do that. I'm the beautiful person that gets to see as our office operates. I get to see them come out of the nurse practitioner's room and they'll put their head down because they know they just got yelled at. Or there's like a woohoo. So I've seen so many different stories in all of these conversations. So, I'll put this little mini disclaimer out. This is nowhere near me giving you medical advice. You got to come to my girls for that. But here's what I'll say. I always say this. Do as I say, not as I do, because I was a bad patient. I am exactly that person that you just described. So I've seen it on both ends. I've seen it from people getting yelled at inside of the room. And then I thought I could skirt the system as the bad patient. And I got in trouble and I didn't see the results and I felt like crap. So I think anybody's first experience on a GLP-1, and here I'll say this too, there are so many different versions of it, between the, big pharma brand, the compounding, they're all great as long as they are sourced right. And this is where you go back to, please don't get stuff shipped just because you can type your information on a computer and it gets shipped to your door. You have no idea where those formulas and those ingredients have been sourced. So let's start by there. But let's just say you're going to a reputable place. It's got a 503A, the big pharma, wherever you're going. And everybody wants to start on. Yep. You want,
fifth grade.
Yeah. Well, there's these pharmacies that are sourced and they're under strict regulations, right? Like some are more strict than the others. You want to go in and ask those questions when you're going to a place. Like, where are you guys sourcing them from? If anybody is like shady or shystery, they won't tell you the labs, or not the labs, the compounding pharmacies. They should be able to tell you where it's coming from. Go look them up. Go Google them. They should be fully transparent with all of that. But it was big. Semaglutide was big when it first jumped off, and then it went tirzepatide, and tirzepatide hits 2 receptors, right? So everybody thought they needed to go to tirzepatide. Is it a better drug? Sure. But the problems that you see with people that you're describing is people that want the quick fix first, and they want it fast. And like you said, if you don't fix the situation, if you don't use this as a tool, you're going to not only go back to, the you're going to go back to where you started. That weight's going to come back. So you got to fix the systems. But people were titrating up too high, meaning they were like, oh, I didn't lose any weight this week. And so they were telling their med spa like us, and people were going to some of the online places, which I won't name names because I like to keep our office without any legal problems. But you could go online and they would say, I didn't lose any weight. And they'd say, oh, okay, do you want to go up in dose? And then they were having the GI issues. They weren't going to the bathroom. They were getting blocked up. They were doing Miralax to let things go without drinking the water, which is super critical and important. So they were getting blocked up anymore. So there's so many things that it's like, you can't do this from home. Stop watching the TikToks that tell you all of this do-it-yourselfers, right? Get it from Korea. You can buy it legally, la, la, la. No, stop. You need to have the accountability partners that can walk you through it and medically dose you based off of what your symptoms and what you're experiencing. So, yeah.
And I think that's, we're in this whole like world of we can do it ourselves. Does that mean we should? And I hear this all the time as well. We're in the world of people want to try to figure themselves out. They think that because we're in this information age that they should be able to. And then they come to me and they're like, I've been struggling for years. My doctor says my labs are normal. And yet I still feel like I'm going to do it again. Shit. So
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's so common because in the world of functional medicine, we look at things from a different lens and we're looking at you from a lifestyle perspective and a metabolic issue. Like this is a metabolic issue, meaning there's something going on with your gut. Maybe it's a detox pathway. Maybe it's a hormonal imbalance. There are so many things that lead up to weight gain and the difficulty of weight loss. That's why it's like, okay, if you're in crisis, it's like, remember years ago when everybody was getting stomach surgery because they were suddenly in a crisis. They were suddenly, 50, 100 pounds overweight. And they're like, I'm just going to get my stomach stapled. And they did. And those people suffer from, within 10 years, they suffer from diseases of malnourishment.
Absolutely.
You guys, we are a first world country. We don't have malnourishment here.
No.
But they literally starve themselves. And I fear that this is going to happen with the GLP-1s.
It already is.
Some kind of, are we seeing that already?
Oh, yeah, all day. They don't realize that they may be creating, by not doing things properly, they may be creating hormonal issues. They may be creating. So here, if you don't work out, if you don't figure out where your deficiencies are, if you don't drink your water, eat your protein. Well, now we've just created not only, did you lose the weight, but you lost the muscle. Oh, now we're attacking the bones. So now we've got osteoporosis happening earlier than what and then you'll have patients that'll say, well, I walked my 10,000 steps today, as if that's strength training, as if that's helping them build that muscle back up. It's like, great, but, or, well, I wasn't hungry, so I didn't eat. And we have to come in from a position of food is not the villain here. You need to eat. Let's figure out what you need to eat and let's work out something that makes sense for you. But, and to be honest, Paula, you see this probably too. The people that really love the GLP-1s, let's be totally frank, totally honest. And again, you're looking at one of them. When the situation comes, because I'm so busy and I get into building companies, 7 kids, living out of state, I got lots of things going on. If you can give me a jab, cool. But I also know what the reality is. I should have been in the gym. I should have been eating the right things. These are all things that we all know. It's all ingrained in us since health class in like 4th grade. We know this. But if you can give me a quick jab, then that's all I need. I learned the hard way. I had certain symptoms that, I'd come in and I'd say, I wasn't feeling great. Well, what did you eat? Let's just say I had processed food or some chicken nuggets the night before. And then my nurse practitioner is sitting there going, well, you dummy, what did you think was going to happen? So, it doesn't change. It sets you up for success if you are willing to do the right things to continue it. The biggest things that we are seeing right now is people will lose a ton of weight. They don't like their Ozempic face. They don't like the fact that their skin above their knees is all loose, right? Like they don't love that stuff. And then they'll sit back and go, okay, I want to come off of it, thinking that they could just cold turkey this. And it's like, no, if you did not learn the systems that set you up, you're going to gain that weight right back. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to guarantee you, I'll put money on it. I'll put all my money in my bank. And then what we're seeing now is people that cold turkey off of this, that think that they know better than us, will ends up happening 7-10 pounds creep back the first month. They want to go on it. And we love semaglutide. I think if you do semaglutide right, you go slow and low, fix the problems, you'll have a better success and you don't have to pay as much as tirzepatide. But I don't know where he's going with this. I love this when I talk to you. I have so many ideas. But the problem is, if you don't do it right, it's going to creep back. And this is what I was going to say. If it creeps back and you come back into our office and you say, okay, well, you know what? You were right, Sherise. I gained it back. And I'm like, great. Well, guess what? That semaglutide, I'm going to bet you, is not going to work the way you think it's going to work going back on it. Now your body's used to it. Now we have to put you on tirzepatide. Now you're going to see that you're spending double the amount with us to get what you could have done if you just listened the first time. So I think like for us, we're just brutally honest. Like you said, like I'm not trying to discourage people away from it or go for it. I just want you to make the best decision and follow through so you're not hurting yourself long-term. That's it. Easy.
Well, we get into, and this is something, I've been doing this 28 years, and there's a term that I first learned in functional medicine when I first started studying functional medicine 25 years ago, and it's called skinny fat. And that you take two people and they might look exactly the same, and they might be the same weight of let's just say a proper BMI, which I think BMI is a BS marker for weight. Anyway, we can have that conversation another time.
Yep.
And so skinny fat, you could have somebody who is, we'll just say 140 pounds, 5'6", 7", whatever. And the one person, they might lose 10 pounds but they lost mostly muscle. And the other person, they lost pure fat. Well, the person who lost the muscle is now more metabolically unfit than the person who kept the muscle and only lost the fat. And that's a huge problem. It's like, okay, getting protein on deck. I have a patient who was on one of the, and I don't know exactly which one, was called GLP-1s. And so then he was saying how he was asking me about his food intake. And I said, well, you need a lot of protein. And he goes, well, I'm doing 40, 30, 30. And his doctor wanted him on 800 calories or 600 calories, something stupid. And he's doing 40, 30, 30. I go, your 600 calories should be all protein. You can't break it down into 40% protein at that point. You're not going to get enough protein, and you're just going to start to lose muscle at a rapid rate.
Yep. I think our minimum that we put, that we recommend for patients is about 120 grams of protein a day. It's not sustainable if you don't. I mean, that's great. And here's the deal. I had a doctor years ago, something unrelated, but he said, I said, you guys just, you sprinkle a little dosing here, you sprinkle a little dosing here. Patients come in, they tell you what they want, and you just prescribe it, and he said to me years ago, which is scary, but you see this every day with what you do. He said, Sherise, he's like, we're doctors of medicine. We practice medicine. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'll practice on her a little. I'll practice on him a little. And I'm as a SOP, person that's like, I need standards and processes. I need to know why we move left to right. And you're like, let me know how you feel, Cookie. We'll just up it, down it later. We'll just mark it in your chart. And people are like, oh, my doctor knows everything. No, they don't.
No,
they don't. No.
I mean, I was having a conversation with somebody today about prenatal care. So not, off topic a little bit, but just that most women who get pregnant before they get pregnant, they are not guided properly on preconception care. Then they get pregnant. They're not guided properly on prenatal care. And we see a huge amount of birth defects issues with birthing in general, issues with pregnancy, issues with the babies when they're born, learning disabilities, failure to thrive, like just, so just to say that if you think your doctor, if you're going to somebody who doesn't know and understand these things that we're talking about, you need to go the other way. You need to go find somebody who can guide you. And Sherise and I have talked about this a lot because we do a lot of collaboration in our community where it's like, okay, if I have somebody who's like dead set on going on a GLP-1, I'm going to take the helm, help them with lifestyle, and I'm going to send them to Sherise because I know that's it's a safe landing place and they're going to get well cared for. And there isn't going to be any BS. And I think that's, that's the benefit of working with some people like us is like, I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear. And I've had people not continue with care. I'm like, I can't lie to you. I'm here to help you feel better.
Same. There's when we go through our questionnaire with people, people are so used to doing at-home shots at this. So they're really taken back by the fact that they got to come in weekly to get their shot from me. I don't send people home. Why? My nurse's license and my medical director's license costs way too much. They went to school more than you can imagine, not for you, Sally Joe, just to have your GLP-1, right? So there's accountability. There were people that we have heard sharing prescriptions and sharing the shot and like, oh, hey, I'm not so hungry this week, so I'll use less, but I'll give you, neighbor Jane, a little bit of mine, see if you like it, right? And then I heard a story about somebody resharing the needles because that's super healthy. I mean, it's just wild. So when they come to us, yeah, girl, I got stories. So when they come to us, I'm like, okay, listen, I'm the clinic that's going to make sure that you come in weekly for multiple reasons. And if you don't like coming, I had a lady that was 15 minutes away. She was in White Lake. She was 15 minutes away. She's like, oh, well, that's too far. And I'm like, oh, yep, got it. If driving 15 minutes weekly for a 20-minute appointment is too much, I'm not your clinic, babe. Like, and that's okay. Like, I'll send you somewhere else. But here's the other thing to your point. Make sure you're getting your labs done and make sure the places are requesting to see your labs. Going back to thyroid issues and all of these metabolic issues that you could have, there are candidates that you may not even know you have an issue with, that you would not be a candidate for it. Yeah, you may have a high BMI and you would be a good candidate for this on other reasons, but there are some strict protocols that we have to be like, no, we can't treat you. I'm so sorry. But if you're going on one of these online guys and you're like, I'm just going to type it on in and they're just going to prescribe it to me without a lab, there's your warning sign. It happens more so.
Well, why wouldn't you want to get a lab done? I mean, like you're saying, it's like, maybe you do have a jacked thyroid. Maybe your blood sugar is so out of whack. And then we can look at that and say, we need to work on dietary guidelines. Maybe your liver enzymes. If your liver enzymes are out of proportion. I mean, we have I don't know if it's an epidemic, but there's an incredible number of people today who have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That alone, the liver detoxifies. And if your liver's not working properly, you won't detoxify toxins. And so your liver then says, well, we can't safely get these out of the body. We're going to put them in long-term storage. You guys know where long-term storage is? It's your fat cells. It's your brain. And so if you have liver dysfunction and you go on these, you haven't fixed your liver and you're putting more stress on the liver. Yeah. So I love that you're saying how people really need to make sure that they are, get your labs done, like do all the right things, set it up properly.
Well, and here's the deal too. And here's my call out to all the other med spas. If you're a clinic that's doing these and you are not set up as a lab that can do the labs in-house and run the labs yourself and get the results yourself. So, yes, people want to, take these labs and they could get costly and, they want to have their insurance pay for it. I get that. But if you're offering this, like you said, as a safe house, why wouldn't you be set up as a lab? So we have people that are like, oh, I haven't had it done. No worries. I'll take care of it for you. Right? Like this is something that I want to make sure every 6 months we're going through, maybe even sooner, where we're getting these results, because you should be holding us accountable. Like not just to your weight loss, but you should be looking at it and say, this is how they read the labs. This is where I'm at. This is what I need to. Oh, by the way, we're starting to see maybe something hormonal going on with your progesterone or your testosterone, or maybe your thyroid's kind of kicking out. So you should be at the forefront of this, not a once a year, that's just garbage. Stick with the clinic that can actually give you the results. And yeah, if not, wait, who said I have Roxy? I like that person.
This is Lily. So Lily and Ken. So Ken popped in here. He said he and Lily both lost a day. This is Ken. Say hi to Sherise.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Sherise. I'm sorry. I've been sick and I lost a day. I thought it was Saturday, not Sunday. But go on, ladies. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Nice to meet you. He's sweet. Ben from Canada.
He's great. That's what I said. So his channel, it's all about the biology. Make sure everybody's going and following them. And if you're on my channel, go to It's All About the Biology. If you're on Ken's channel, please jump over to my channel and give me a follow as well. So
love. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. And so so Lily is Ken's better half. So she's and Lily, Sherise has moxie.
I have moxie. I have chutzpah. I've been told I got a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. Yes.
No, I think
some things we can't mention on the air.
Follow me on my subscribers channel. I'll tell you all the things.
Okay, let me put up your. Hold on. Where did I have your?
And here's the thing too.
And I made a banner for her. Here we go. Let's see if I did it. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
And so we just launched, if anybody's interested on like the peptide world or, like weight loss management, what they could potentially look like. Yeah, you can go to our website. There's a 30-second, see what you would look like. But I'm going to tell you, if you're just looking for, the weight loss, I'm not your gal. If you want to use that app to see what you would look like, healthy, maybe 5, 10, 20 pounds less, sure, go ahead. But like what Paul and I are saying is, if you're not going to follow the track to success, we don't fail. I mean, it's been my motto since forever. I don't open up a company if it's not going to succeed. So I don't raise kids if they're not going to be geniuses. So there's things in which we're not going to put you in a position to fail.
She's got 7 kids.
7 kids and a grandbaby on the way. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I know. Got a lot of offspring. But here's the deal. I would say that, like, if you want the help, we're here. And we're going to be loud and proud in your face. And we're going to say, maybe we're the clinic, maybe we're not the clinic, maybe go look over here. It's not about a sale test. We love you. We make money in lots of different ways. We're not grabbing by the coat strings of one patient being like, I got to make a sale. That's not the case. I want you to be successful. Tell 10 of your friends. But also the message that you're sending is, sure, you would not do well in Sherise's clinic. I'm not going to recommend you. She won't be mean to you. But we just want you to do it right. And that means everything that you're doing, the nervous system, the regulation, all of that, it has to go together for you to be successful. That's it. It's easy.
And oftentimes, I mean, that's a really great point. Good segue into stress and weight gain. I mean, when you are stressed out, and I talk about nervous system dysregulation all the time. If your body and your brain and your nervous system doesn't feel safe, do you think it cares about losing weight? Like, no, because safety for you, part of the reason that you're holding weight is starvation. Is are we going to get a woolly mammoth in the next several months? Your body doesn't know that there's a 7-Eleven around the corner. It just knows that for some reason it doesn't feel safe. And that lack of safety will cause you to hold on to weight, fat, particularly because it's long-term storage. So it's really critical that you start to really get a hold of all of the different lifestyle key points. I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say there. Lifestyle points, so that you can start to implement them. And I look at lifestyle, it's like a wheel with spokes, and that each pillar of your lifestyle, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. Are you drinking your water? Are you getting your rest? Are you getting chiropractic care? What are all the spokes there? What's your social engagement? Do you have a strong social circle? That's really critical. There's so many things. And Dr. Erica and I talk about this on Chiropractic is Sexy every Thursday. So make sure you're tuning into that because we break that down. But the whole point is that you should look at a spoke, but draw a picture on a piece of paper and rate your spoke. So 0 is in the middle and 10 is at the end. Is your wheel crooked? Do some of your spokes need work? I mean, if they do, then get to work. And fix those. And yes, get labs done. I can order labs. Sherise can order labs. Any good person that you're working with should be able to order those labs, when they're indicated. And I think for sure going into GLP-1s is definitely an indication.
Well, and you just hit a major thing that we're seeing more since, the black box, if you will, has been removed from women's hormonal therapy and the scare care side of things, right? You're starting to see women start opening up and educating themselves a little bit more on, okay, wait, is my weight gain attached to I'm just in a dumpy mood because I've got the weight, which is causing me to hate my husband and I don't want to go to work. And now I'm having trouble sleeping, and goes into this cyclical cycle that you're seeing a lot of women go, I turned a corner and I don't know what's going on. I have these 10 pounds of just stubborn weight that just won't go. And I've never had this problem. And they're coming into that menopausal kind of crap, right? And they can't figure out what it is, but it's affecting their entire life, which goes to prove that we need to be able to work with patients to make sure that they are hitting all of those things and that the labs match, because there could be just one little thing that needs to be off. I mean, I pulled my labs 2 weeks ago, I want to say, and I was just, I had to think, like, my days are kind of going together. It might've been 3, but I pulled them and I said, hey guys, like something's just not hitting right. And I can't tell what it is. And, I went blonde and I'm like, is my hair falling off because I over bleached it? Or is it maybe my GLP-1 dose? Because we don't talk about this, those things like that. Is it hormonal reasons why, maybe somebody's losing hair? Is it because they went too high up in their GLP-1 dose that's causing these issues? So we need to make sure that we're looking at the total picture. And well, lo and behold, I needed magnesium glycinate. I needed my fish oil. I needed my zinc. I needed all of these things. It was just like, yeah, my progesterone needed a little bit of a bump. My adrenals were stressed because Paula knows me. I have 7 kids and 3 businesses and out of state. And whoop, whoop.
Just not.
But
stop.
if you don't have those labs, no, it was really funny when my nurse practitioner said, well, your testosterone's a little high. And I was like, go figure. But you need somebody, right, that can be able to say, what is the issue? What do you need? What are your resources? Right? Let's not go straight to medication. Let's talk about the things that we can hit first and get there if we need to later. Go to Paula, go to, see if it's just something a little one degree shift change and see if that happens, but too many clinics are in money. That's it.
Yeah. And that whole nutrient piece, you just nailed the baseline that I have all my patients on, and that is a high quality protein powder. And I say protein powder because that's what people connect to it, but it's actually a nutritional powder with branched chain amino acids. It helps retain muscle. It's high in protein, and then fish oil, vitamin D, and probiotic, a high quality probiotic. Those are like at a minimum. Those are just at a minimum. You should be on each and every person should be on that every single day for baseline nutrition. And then of course with GLP-1s, really with anything. I mean, even if you take Advil a couple times a week or Tylenol, all of that stuff depletes. And so magnesium glycinate, magnesium threonate, there's different forms of magnesium that I have people taking for that. But magnesium's critical for nerve health, for muscle health, for
And
cellular
like 90%
health.
of the population is deficient in it. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like baseline. And then I think too, most people have some kind of digestive issue. So, I help them with like digestive, put them on and I say digestive enzymes, but people will go in and typically they'll get enzymes, which are more pancreatic, which aren't terrible, but oftentimes we have to start at the stomach or like work with the oral microbiome. There's so many layers to it. And, that's when people come in and they're like, oh, I've been doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that's great. I'm so glad that Google University has given you that information. Now let's do it the right way. Right.
Well, and here's the scary part about, like you said, we're in the information age, and AI is not always right? Like, you can't go to AI for your medical resources. Is it fun from time to time? Sure. Mine's even got a name, but am I going to him to read my hormone panel? No.
Right.
And now you've got the TikToks that are coming out where people are getting 5 to 15 seconds worth of information, but people aren't realizing these are the companies that are paying for these influencers, right, to say these things because it's easier and cheaper to pay a micro influencer than it is anything else. Now, all of a sudden, you've got 20 kids saying you need to do a peptide. Case in point, my son's girlfriend called me up and she was so cute. She's like, what's going on with peptides? Do you got peptides? And I was like, what? You're 25. Like, what do you want a peptide for? She's like, I know, I just see them. But then she starts going into, some things that some would work really well for her. And I'm like, okay, but we can't get our information off of the TikTok. The first thing I'm like, you're 20, you're perfect. Like, stop it. Like, you don't need anything. Then she started talking about symptoms. I was like, all right, here's my nurse practitioner. But that's the problem that we have. We can't focus our future on AI. We still need service providers that are going and getting education constantly and are learning. I can't tell you how many times, I know doctors that will go to these conferences in Vegas and Cali and Hawaii and all these places because they need to get their CEUs performed by a drug company. And all they got to do is like click in for the 5-minute, conference, and then they're out on the waves. And it's like, but did you learn anything? That was the whole reason why you went down there. And so now we think our doctors are going and getting this information, in which it's really just a tax write-off for the company to go and make sure that doctor, I can go on and on. It's crooked.
I mean,
it's crooked.
And that's all of it, right? And then the drug rep comes in and says, here's this new cholesterol medication, here's this new heart medication, and they know nothing about it. And it was just, so they start prescribing it because it's the latest and greatest thing that the rep was talking about. That has actually been shown to be true, is that they hammer these doctors hard, and the last drug to be heard in their brain is the one that wins. So be very careful.
They don't have to. I mean, what is it? Is it us in the Netherlands? I think it's in the Netherlands. We're the only 2 countries that legally are allowed to have the drug companies market on the commercial screens. You can't go over anywhere else and see a drug commercial. Hey, you like running on the beach and you can't? Here's some Lyrica. Go tell your doctor to get the Lyrica. So you walk into Dr. Smith's office and you're like, I want to run on the beach and I want Lyrica. And he goes, 9 times out of 10, here's Lyrica. This can't continue. We need to do better. And it really does start with us, with educating. These doctors, they've done 30 years of school. They don't want to keep going. And that's the problem. So, we need to hold our professionals and our providers to a higher standard. Just what we need to do.
Yeah. And I mean, the people like you and me who, I don't want to say this with any disrespect, but you not being a doctor in my opinion, holds yourself to a higher standard than the doctor who did go to school for however many years. And that's how I feel I am too. I'm like, I'm constantly reading studies and also being really mindful with AI, you guys. Here's the thing. The peptides have been around forever. So not just the diabetic ones, but they have been around forever. And what's interesting, and I'm sure you know this, Sherise, is that many of them actually got taken off the market because the drug companies could not monetize them. And these were peptides that had been used historically for many years for injuries. And, I don't know, like there's so many out there. Like it's not just yeah, right. I mean, like there's so many. So there's it's not just GLP-1. Peptides are, but peptide. It's a great buzz term. And so when you go to AI and you try to look these things up, you often won't find the other ones because the information, AI is kind of like, it will cannibalize itself. So it can only detect the information that's out there. And when you have good information on, let's say, BP 157 for injuries, injectable, oral, or whatever, when you have that kind of information that has been scrubbed from the internet, that has prevented compounding pharmacies from dispensing because the drug companies couldn't, they couldn't monetize it, you won't find information on it. Yeah. And that's the problem. Is that or it might tell you it's fringe when it's not really. It's time tested. So now we're in a place where, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish. Sorry.
Well, I was just saying, now we're in a place with these GLP-1s where they haven't been tested long-term for weight loss. And it's another quick fix. And that's the cycle we have to get out of, is we can't keep going for the quick fixes. We have to do better is what you said, right?
All day, do better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Kennedy just came out I think it's 3 days ago, that he's putting 12 out of the big 15 on the peptides back on July 30th, game plan on, are we going to do bigger clinical studies? Are we going to actually put these forth? Because what people don't realize is just because you can buy them doesn't mean they're illegal, right? Like this started when TikTok did like 2 years ago. It was like even happening with like people buying gray market Botox, right? And so they were like, oh, I just watched a video and I got to put it here, here, and here. And then I got this box, right? Well, the box.
Come on.
No, I'm not kidding you. It still happens to this day.
Oh my God.
There's this box that's in Korean. Well, guess what? When you have an adverse effect, are you taking that box to the ER? How do they know what you injected yourself with? How do they know how to figure out what to do with that? Right. And then now they're all rushing around. I just see this in the hospital. Like, where's there a doctor that speaks, and they're trying to figure out. Well, you're sitting there with your eye like this. Your lips
one deflated lip.
To save $100. It's wild.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's like the Wild West, right? We have to.
Well, let's be honest. If anybody's watching this from Michigan, listen, I say this to providers all the time. I'm like, Michigan's been running like the wild, wild west for far too many years. You have states that are uber compliant when it comes to business practices, models, how they're doing things, right? Like it's amazing. I don't think we have the setup in Michigan just yet. Do I think it's coming? Yes. Am I telling providers you build the bomb shelter before the bomb comes? Like we've been in compliance, like wildly with lawyers all around the country because we're trying to figure out what other states are doing so people can be smart. But that's the problem. These drug reps are coming in with suppliers and they're getting a commission off of it as the rep. They don't know anything about these peptides except what the lab or AKA compounding pharmacy has said, and they're selling it to you. And the problem is most of these providers, Paula, you know this because you're like the smartest person I know, but a lot of these providers did not, like you, and you know this too, like even doctors, I'm married to one. There's these doctors that come through and they go from high school to college, fellowship, residency, all of these things. They believe what is being fed to them is to the God honest truth. So when reps come in and they tell these med spas or these other places like, oh, this is great, it's totally legal to sell this, and they inject it, they don't realize, hey, guess what? And you should know this too as a client when people come in. if you are being injected by something that is not covered by the FDA, there is a really high chance that their medical malpractice will not cover it. So when they mess up your face and you go to sue them, or your body, or something triggered a something, well, then guess what? You have no recourse, because their insurance is, and these people, if they're selling illegal things or giving you illegal things, that tells me a lot about what it is about that practice, because they need that money, and they need the hype words, and they need the hype treatments to be able to, because they're afraid it's going to get too big and they're not going to make any money. So they don't do things the right way. They don't even call their medical malpractice to see if it covers. And most of the time it won't. So now you're sitting here going, what do I do? And you're more than likely, yeah, and you're not going to be able to squeeze blood out of a turnip. It ain't their cookie. So, you know, that's
do you think also it comes to, which I'll have you speak to this from your personal experience too, is also with it being the Wild West, how do you source your product? Like, how do you know, like, what companies are selling stuff to you? Because I can't imagine that if it's this bad in the offices, where are people getting their stuff?
Right. So if you were asking me this as a provider of, you know, of a, like, I'm in charge of the systems, right, of where we order from. You know, obviously my nurse practitioners are the ones, they're in charge of all the medical decisions where they go, but they have a very strict protocol, obviously, within our group that says you need to get this information about the setup of these organizations. These organizations should be able to send you the paperwork of what they are. Do not trust anybody that's just answering the phone from Adam. So they should be able to say, yeah, no problem, I'll send you over the paperwork today. If they don't, that's a problem. Same way comes from a client. I have no problem showing any one of my patients that come in, like, hey, if you want to know where things are being sourced, well, obviously by law, we're required to have all of our orders and all of our paperwork systematically inside of a SOP binder, right? That says where all my drug orders with the date and the stamp, all of this stuff. There should be full transparency to give this to them. The minute that somebody says, well, I don't know what I mean, run. It's super easy, run. And if you're getting it off of TikTok, it's illegal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get that a lot with, I'll just go back to supplements for a minute, because I get asked all the time, what do you think about, you know, and I use Metagenics, and there's a couple of other brands that I use, because I've been working with them for 25 years. I know the ingredients, I know the company, I know where they source the ingredients, I know the path that every raw ingredient has taken. I know that every ingredient's third-party tested. I know the final product's third-party tested. I know the quality control. So when people come to me and they're like, I got this from Costco. Is this, well, this has all the things that you were telling me. And I'm like, okay, let's take a look at it. Yeah. And I will say, I'll tell them, I go, well, first of all, you should be able to call this company, see the 800 number on the back, call them and ask them for the white papers, ask them for the data and the research behind their product. Is it third-party tested? Are the raw materials third-party tested? And tell them you want to see the papers. I guarantee you they don't have them, is the first thing. And then second of all, because they were able to get it cheaper, and I'm air quoting, cheaper from Costco or wherever, I might look at it and go, that's got 50 milligrams of magnesium. I told you you need 300 or whatever. I'm throwing some numbers out. So you've got to take 6 times the amount of this. So now let's work out the dollar math and see how that works for you. So most of the time when they go buy a cheaper product, they don't understand dosage. It might have the worst forms of nutrients in it. And so when you find somebody that you can trust, I say this with a little bit of trepidation, but you should be your own advocate. You shouldn't believe us, but you should believe us, because, right? Like, you should take all the information that we are giving you and turn it around on us and ask us those hard questions. And why do we recommend what we recommend? How did we get where we got to? Who are we utilizing? Like, what, turn it around on us. Don't just believe us, but believe us.
Yeah. And it goes back to like the Wild West of of Michigan in general. You know, you've got med spas that have clinical oversight, and that is a very, very loose term that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of these med spas will have a doctor that is out of the state, that doesn't come to the office, that has never met, that doesn't walk the rooms, that doesn't have, you know, any kind of oversight really, but they're on paper and they're collecting a check, and they're allowing an RN, which you should also be checking to make sure if you do decide to do peptides of any kind, that you are meeting with a nurse practitioner, a PA, a DO, MD. Those are the only people in the state of Michigan that can legally prescribe these medications. So if you have a nurse that's like, oh yeah, no, we have a medical director, it's fine. Did you see them? There's a thing in Michigan, in most states, I would say 99% of states, called the good faith exam. It's called the GFE. You have to have this in front of a person, whether it's a Zoom call with audio, right? So they can ask you these medical history questions that you filled out, or in person. And a lot of these med spas will not hire a nurse practitioner because it costs too much money, right? So they'll go and they'll say, well, yeah, he says it's okay. And I ask the same questions. Do you have a history of thyroid issues? Do you? Okay. And then I give it to him, and then here you go. Like, that's not the same. That is not quality care. So your first person needs to be an NPPA, DO, or higher. I'm not saying an RN can't inject subsequent, right? Like those treatments, sure, under the PA, NP. Yeah. So.
Well, and I'll tell you a little bit of my personal story for me. So years ago when I was like, I think I need to go on hormones. And again, I've said this multiple times, is that have your lifestyle on check. Like, you can't out hormone a crappy lifestyle. Like, but I'm the person that has all the lifestyle things in check. And listen, you guys, I'm not perfect. I've told you that before. So, but I went to which I didn't realize it was a referral. A friend of mine said, go to this place, and it happened to be a med spa. And I'll tell you where it's at offline, and you'll probably have lots of things to enlighten me about, but it was so many years ago that I didn't know what I didn't know. And so, and I was new into the world of hormones and research into hormones. And since then, again, I educated myself. But I went there kind of like see what the deal was. Well, first of all, I was like, they were like, okay, well, and they would do the pellets. And I'm like, the pellets. And I do not like, I'm going to tell you, I let them give me they put testosterone pellets in your ass. Like they they slice, stick the pellets in, and then they stitch you. And the girl, like, I think she dug a freaking hole to China in my ass.
Was she a nurse or a nurse practitioner and higher?
I don't think she was. I assumed they were nurses, and I think they were techs. So I'm just going to say that.
Even with the pellets, you have to be an NP or higher. You can't even be a nurse doing it with a BSN.
I knew. And I'm only going to say this because of then what I learned after the fact. But there was I think she was a PA. I never saw a doctor. And this guy runs many of these facilities, and I never saw a doctor. And I went there, I think twice. And after the second time, and they refused to do blood work. And I demanded, I said, I need labs. I'm a 50, whatever I was at the time, year old woman going through menopause. Like, I need labs. Well, we don't normally do labs. We typically just go on symptoms. And I was like, you're going to dispense hormones to me and not do labs? So I demanded they do labs. So they did your insurance won't cover it. I don't care. I'm like, I'm here to get care. I need to. And so number one, you have to argue with somebody to get labs. That's not right. That should be standard of care. And then I went back the second time. So it was like 3 months later, and I went back, and they were, the girl, and I'm saying girl, because I think she couldn't have been more than 26, 27 years old. She was so freaking arrogant. And I'm like, honey, I will crush you. Like, I will crush you. And I said something about, I'm just frustrated because, again, like, I'm a victim of the whole menopausal fluff, right? She said, first thing, without even saying what's going on, what kind of your life, she goes, oh, do you want a GLP-1? Like, literally just jumped right to it. And I go, no, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on with my body. Like, what is wrong with you? And I left, and I ended up leaving them a scathing Google review. And I'm like, because they were so rude, and I don't think they knew what the heck they were doing. And I found out the hard way. I was one of those people. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because people need to know that they need to ask better questions. And if I'm a doctor walking into a place without the knowledge, which I have now, and I have my friend Sherise here, we are here for you. So again, her link is below. Ken, can you pop her link up on the screen for me, please? There she is. Oh, look at Ken. He actually did it correctly. I didn't know how to do that. I know. There we go. Okay. Now people can just click it and go to your thing. Okay. So yeah, so that was my experience. And I'm telling you, I was not impressed. Was not impressed.
Well, it goes to show just how scary the world is. I was telling you this a couple days ago, and I was using ChatGPT because I'm always intrigued with what it will tell people, because as providers, as people that are in this industry, we have a responsibility to making sure that we get ahead of these problems before they exist. So one night I was just tootsing around, and I was like, oh, I have these issues. What do you think it is? And then it said, oh, you need progesterone. Oh, okay, cool. Well, where do I get it? Well, if you go here, and it literally listed 3 places, and one of the places that it listed said, no questions asked, we'll get the script. And I was like, yep, no. I was like, well, now I'm invested. Now I want to see if this is actually the case. Went to that stupid website, which I'm not going to say because they should be completely shut down. No kidding, $69.99 was what it cost me. And all I had to do was say what I wanted, which ChatGPT told me what I wanted. It said, you want, 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams of micronized progesterone. Okay, how many supplies do you want? 30, 60, 90, not kidding you. Then at the bottom, it said, we may ask for labs. Oh. We may. I'm like, interesting. Literally within, and then it said, where do you want your script to be sent to? So I sent it, because I'm like, let's see, here's Walgreens. Reputable pharmacy, right? Like 10, 15 minutes later, here's a script from an FNP, a family nurse practitioner, name couldn't pronounce. And I'm sitting there going, holy smokes. Like, you could just go on ChatGPT, get this. Don't do this. I'm not saying do this. Do not do this. But this is the world that we're in.
Good experience to share. Yeah.
Well, because if we're not educating people at this point that you should not be doing that, then they're going to think that they can. Well, if ChatGPT told me, if TikTok told me, if 20 micro influencers on TikTok said it was okay, just use this, then it must be true. And that's not the case. So you have to get in front of it to be able to educate. I think that's what makes you and I so different from all of the other providers out there, because they are more reacting to a problem. We're proactive. We're trying to figure out what the problems are, but that are coming down before anybody else can. They're reacting to the problems. We're figuring out what tomorrow's problem is going to be while everybody's figuring out yesterday's, so we have a responsibility.
100%. And I look at that too, and I'm like, everybody wants it done cheap, but they don't want it done well. And it reminds me, there's a I'm sure you've seen it. It's a sketch of a horse, and like the front end of the horse, it's this beautiful sketch of this horse. And then the back end looks like a 3rd grader finished it. And it said something like, when your client says, can you do it cheaper? Or so,
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. And it's like, there's these chiropractors doing $39, $49 specials. I'm like, I don't do cheap healthcare. Like, I am saving your freaking life is what I'm doing. And what is that worth? That's really only worth $39 to you. And the fact that I spent 11 years in college, and you think it's okay. I would think it's okay for me to charge $39. Like the lack of self-respect that these docs have. What is that one? What is, oh, that's not the, no, it's a picture of a horse, Ken. It's a sketch of a horse. Put in horse sketch. Do you want it when your client asks if you want it done cheaper, something like that, and see what you get.
Well, that's like
It's
$8
really
Botox
fun.
places, right? It's like you
yeah,
can't even
sure.
get the product for that. Like, where are you getting it from? Like,
Where are they? And is it Botox? What are they doing?
Well,
Is it saline?
is it watered down? Is it like, and that's the thing. It's like you have to educate people. Like you said, your education is worth something. I always tell med spas when I'm consulting with them, I'm like, listen, if you want to go the fastest way to hell, it's going to be discounting the hell out of who you are. Those people are not going to be loyal people. They're going to be loyal to you because you have the education, because you are a resource that they can pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got this issue. What can I do with it?
If you're paying me $39, do you think I want to answer your phone call when you need me?
That tells us that you need people. Or here's the other side of it, which was big on the GLP-1s, and it still is big, especially with these onlines. You would get these things where it would say, oh my gosh, if you're a new patient and you want a GLP-1, I can get it to you for $149 a month. And they're like, oh, sweet, because Sherise is charging more than that, so I'm going to go there. And I'm like, go ahead, let's see what happens. And what they do is they walk their little booty over there because it's cheaper. They get it sent to their house. And then within 3 weeks, if not 2 or 3 weeks, they're getting titrated up. Oh, and well, that dollar amount was only for the lowest dosing. And now we need more. And now they're paying more for something that I'm like, how did that work? And you don't have a resource. How'd that work for you? Like I think for most people, it's like, I value my providers. They paid a lot of money for their training. If, I want them to provide the most value with the most education that they can pack in. I mean, we're not looking to get rich. We're looking to get healthy. And honestly, we're a training facility. So we're responsible for training people. Oh, that's funny.
Is that hilarious? I had it backwards, but
that's so funny. That's so true. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
Right. My providers, they make their plans. They are not guided. And here's the other thing. I think the biggest misconception is, here I'm talking all of this. My providers are the ones that get to dictate what the treatment looks like, what the cost looks like, what everything is, where they're sourcing it from. I don't get it. I'm nobody. Thanks, Gorski. Love you.
I know, it's good to see Gorski here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Like, I'm not.
She's been here for a little while.
She has been. I'm not, I'm not the one sitting here going, you guys, I need $5,000 by the end of the day. So I'm going to need you to increase, or I'm going to need you to drop the prices because I need new patients. That can't happen. I can't do that to a medical provider. Yet you have these companies that are doing that, and they are pushing sales. And that's why you're getting a very salesy vibe from things and from people out there. If it sounds like sales, it's not medicine. It's just what it is. Yeah.
And it should make sense. It should make absolute sense. And again, I have a patient that I'm working with. He's got dementia, off topic from GLP-1s, but on topic from how we care and what we do. And the fact that he paid me a lot of money to help him. And I am, listen, my patients, I'm not the cheapest person on the block. I have the same level of passion for every single patient. When you got a guy who used to be really active in the community, what he was like before, and you see him now, you're like, oh man, I got to fix this guy. Like that level of purpose, that level of responsibility gets even greater. Yeah. And so it's interesting is he came in the other day, and he's also has had a lifetime of GI issues. So let's just talk about this again for a minute, is that he's had GI issues pretty much his whole life. He's 72, 73, and now he's got dementia. You guys, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that he never addressed the issue from 40 years ago, from what his wife tells me, if not longer. And I see this every single day. I've got a 30-year-old kid that I'm working with who has severe Crohn's, and we're working hard with him. And I'm like, listen, dude, I'm like, these are my patients 40 years from now, and you're not going to be there on my watch. We need to fix this. And he's a tough case, but he listens and he's compliant, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to end up there either. Great kid. If I had a whole room full of him. But the whole point is that you see I mean, again, I've been doing this 28 years, so I see patterns in people. And when you have these chronic health issues, if you're just running for the GLP-1s out of the gate and your lifestyle isn't in check and you're only pooping once a week, I promise you, it doesn't end well. It does not end well. You might be skinny with dementia in 40 years.
Skinny's not healthy. Skinny's not, it's just not. And you need the rest. I mean, if you come to our office, you'd be fired as a client, so, and that's a lot of money. These are not cheap drugs. They're not supposed to be cheap drugs. They're supposed to be serious drugs that are monitored by a professional to give you the tools that you have, right? So it blows my mind that people, will sit there and go, well, I know you told me I needed to drink water. I know you told me that I needed to eat food. It's like,
yeah. And I was telling him he was super frustrated. He'd been really improving a lot, and then went back into a bout of constipation. And he's like, I don't know why that's happening. And I know he doesn't drink water. He was drinking a ton of water and he was peeing a lot. And he's like, I don't want to have to be running to the bathroom. And I'm like, you haven't. And his wife's like, oh, he's never has drank water ever. Like, and I'm like, yeah, you're completely dehydrated. And so sure, he stopped drinking water and now he's backed up again. And I'm like, listen, and then I said, and he wanted an answer from me, and I said, listen, are you keeping the food journal? No. And he's like, I don't need to do that. And I'm like, if you want me to figure this out, you need to keep me a food journal. I don't have a magic crystal ball. I'm not at your house. I don't see what you're doing from day to day. Like, I need to see if something's changed in your diet in order to be able to give you an answer that makes sense. I can't just guess. I can say, well, maybe, okay, you need to drink more water, but is it? Maybe you ate some gluten and your body doesn't like it. Maybe you've got a food allergy now that has been revealed in all of this. So, that's the thing that we tell our people, hold your feet to the fire.
Well, and I'm going to kick you off the plan, because here's the deal. Our time is just as valuable as yours. If you're coming in and wasting, your own time, do that on your own dollar, on your own time. But my practitioners, they're trying to help as many people. And the last thing that I want for them, just as like a happiness level, is to come in and feel frustrated because you can't follow the protocols, but you're holding them to protocols to follow, right? So it's a two-way street here. And the way that we look at it is more from an angle of, there are other people that want to get into our books. They want us to help them. And if you're holding a spot and wasting time, then we love you, but you got to go. We're going to love you from afar, buddy, because we're not the right fit here. Because I have people that are waiting in line, and we're getting bottlenecked. And we can't help those people that truly do want to put in the work and they want this amazing tool, but it's only amazing if you use it the right way and it's prescribed from the practitioner the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yep.
I do know what you mean. And it's, I mean, I think that's why you and I have such a passion for what we do. And we don't, we're not going to pussyfoot around these people. You want help? We're here to help you. You want, if you've been searching forever and trying to get help and trying to get healthy, then if you're ready to put the work in, Sherise and I will guide you. We are here. We're here to help you every step of the way. If for whatever reason you opted for a GLP-1 and you still are, that you weren't metabolically fit to begin with. Okay. So what does that look like? That's inflammation. That's brain fog. That's headaches. It's constipation. It's diarrhea. It's any GI issue. It's diabetes. It's cardiovascular issues. It's chronic UTIs. It's, psoriasis, any kind of other skin condition, dry mouth. It's, there's so many other things, right? That's lack of metabolic fitness. So if you're on a GLP-1 and you're still having those, then we need to talk, because number one, are we working the lifestyle piece of it? Let's work the lifestyle piece and make sure your body has the correct support. And then you could work with Sherise and make sure that you're on the correct actual product and dosage, right?
Absolutely. Let's just pick up the phone, send a DM, That's step number one. We'll figure it out. What?
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Absolutely. I do want you to share one more story before we sign off. I know I said an hour, but of course you and I
I
can
was
talk
like,
forever,
man.
which I know. Can we count this as a one-on-one?
Yeah, we could do this as like a part 2. We could always come back. We can circle back.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I want you to share the story. There are some people, they might be local, they might not be, who like, how do people know when people are actually running an illegal operation? Like, what would be questions people should be asking?
Oh man. Okay. Well,
I mean, hypothetically.
Well, no, I'll call them out. They know I'll call them out. That's why we don't get along. Listen, first and foremost, ask who their medical director is, look it up. They should be, you can go to, if you're in Michigan, we have the licensing and regulatory affairs. You could be able to figure out who these people are easy. Figure out who they are and figure out whether they come or they don't. In a lot of space, what med spas are failing to realize is there needs to be documentation. How do I know that your medical director comes? Well, if you come into our place, we actually have his signature on every date that he has visited. You can see when he last was here. Okay. That's one. Med spas do not have their own licensing. It goes, unfortunately, underneath the nurse practitioner, the nurse, the doctor. That's where the shades of gray. Whereas like for you, for example, you have a facility, right? Like that gets regulated. It's a little weird when it comes to med spas because they're treated as doctor's offices. It's goofy. Number one. Number two, if you're getting medication, if it's a GLP, it has to be patient specific. They cannot pull out of a vial out of like a patient, like a big stock. So if they're just pulling 25 clients in, that's wrong. They should be ordering a script. The script should be going to a pharmacy. We should be getting it delivered. You should see your bottle. Those are first and foremost. You should see the practitioner's license. That has to be legally displayed. Look down at the bottom corner. It'll show you when their expiration date is, if it's legal or if it's not. You can always do a consult, with any place. Take that number with your phone. Go to Lara and see if they're active. See if there's anything that's been investigated with them. Everything will be there. And then just ask where they're sourcing it from and ask for the documentation from that pharmacy on where, are they legit or are they not? They should be able to provide all of that, full transparency. Those are your biggest ones. And you need to be doing good faith exams with an NP, a PA or higher. You should physically have to see that physician or that practitioner, not just an RN.
Before you get treatment.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you have to pass the GFE. You have to be, and that can't be asked by a nurse. It has to be asked by a nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, somebody with a higher level, because that all falls underneath. We can get even deeper with it. If you really suspect, hey, listen, if you really suspect that somebody's running an illegal practice, why don't you call me and I will see. I'll help you investigate it. Because listen, at the end of the day, we all need to rise up together. My goal is not to shut places down. I want you to succeed. I just want you to succeed the right way. And if you are selling things illegally and you're putting yourself in an unfair advantage and you're buying things from the gray market and you're selling it at below cost, let's just say, well, ultimately the FTC can get involved in that as well, because you're doing something illegally for competition not to be able to be fair. So, you know what I mean?
I think that's great insight, great information. We have a whole thing in the thread going on about shots and jabs. And I just want to read this where Rusty Nails says, think about all the things we have now that we didn't in the 60s and 70s, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and no one was allergic to any food. Weird. Shocker, right? And also somebody was telling me this just today, and they said, do you realize how back in the 70s, everybody was skinny? Like, yeah, we did not have an obesity epidemic. We currently have 40% of Americans are clinically obese, with 80% being overweight. We do have an epidemic. So again, we're not going to inject our way out of this epidemic. So we have to take matters into our own hands and start to, I'll just go with the government, putting crap in our food. Like, you have got to take matters into your own hands, ask questions, again, turn the tables on people like me and Sherise, and ask us the same questions that we are telling you to ask other people. We are not afraid to have those difficult conversations and show you proof of why we do what we do and why it's legit. So we just don't want to have anybody out there, getting harmed. So,
well, and you're seeing right now, I saw a statistic 2 days ago that says there is now the same amount of med spas out there as there are McDonald's. Let that sink in. So regenerative medicine is not going anywhere, and people are going to ride this tide for a very long time because it's a trigger word. So you should be doing your research to make sure that they're selling you legit stuff. This stuff's not cheap. We have to make money. We keep our lights on. I'm okay with businesses making money. I'm not, I'm afraid that if we get into, we need the cheapest thing, you're going to force people down where they can't make profit, that they have to go to these gray markets. So, be prepared to spend money. It's okay. It's the reason why organic food costs more than your bologna sandwich. You know what I mean? So,
well, and it's the reason that medical doctors have 2.5 minutes to spend with you. You don't get quality care because they are governed by the insurance companies. And also you end up waiting 3 hours for that 2.5 minutes. So, I would rather charge a more premium rate so that I can spend more time with my patients, take care of them, and know that I'm doing right by people. So, couple more comments. Rusty Nail says, if the medical director has dreads and a degree from Amsterdam, be wary, LOL. And Lily says, in the 60s and 70s, everyone was slim. Watch Soul Train or American Bandstand and see for yourself. Truth. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man. They were more active too. I mean, think about people. When's the last time people went out and danced? Do you know what I mean? Like, crazy.
We were dancing all the time. Yes,
all the time. Well,
the Happy Meal, that was yeah.
I mean,
it's a chicken with super easy. Yeah, that's good.
This is $1 billion industry for a reason, and everybody wants to get on it. It's like dentists and Botox. It's like, everybody wants this, like, gimme. Instead of being really great at what they do and hyper focusing, they expand into so many different things. It's like going to a restaurant. You see Italian, Chinese, Mexican, American food, and you're like, whoa, like it's too much. It's overwhelming. Just because you can sell it and just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Just stick to something and do it really well, and you'll be successful. So,
and be authentic and honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be the first to jump on a trend. If you've got other practitioners that are watching this, which I know if they're watching this and they see my name, they're watching me because they're always wondering what I'm doing. But don't be the first to jump on a trend. I always say, I'm like, here's the thing. I'm never afraid of somebody copying me because they can't make their next move until I make mine. So if I'm doing it the right way.
Who's going to copy you? I mean, literally, like, girl, nobody can copy you.
I don't do it the cheap way. So they try to do it the knockoff wish way. So I'm glad we did this. And here, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad you're a resource for me and for all of my people. And, I think people definitely have a blessing with you and knowing you. And if they've learned anything at this point, I think it's, you can tell who is authentic and who is out for the good of our industry and who's out for the scammy schmammy stuff. So I appreciate that you pulled me on this. I'm always happy to talk to you and all of your friends because I feel like we hang out with the same kind of people, the people that just want to keep it rolling.
That's right. Yes. Lily says you have moxie. That's my new word for you. Hey, moxie.
It's better than some of the other things, Lily, that people call me. So I'll take moxie.
Listen, the more successful you get, the bigger target you get on your back. And
haters be hating, man. They can do the same thing. We have the same 24 hours in the day. Just do things right and you'll be successful.
Yeah. And pay attention to you.
It's weirdo behavior to not do it right. Whatever.
Yeah. Weird. Well, Sherise, thank you so much for coming on. It's always so fun when we get a chance to talk. And then this is just extra special. Just real quick, Sherise and I actually met because in 2020, we were both invited to do a podcast with the Huron Valley Chamber. And we were on it together, just like this. messaging each other behind the scenes going, why are we not friends? Like we did not know each other. And so it was sort of like love at first sight, and we had to connect, and the rest is history. So it's kind of cool to be back on and seeing your face here, but then I'll see you in person this week. So yeah.
Boss bees. That's what I say. Yeah. There's people that are intimidated by people that are loud and outspoken and authentic. Right. And then, there's us that are like, the more the merrier. Just
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Lily's 70s sassy, savvy, and sexy. I love it. And I think that's a great note to end on. So thanks for that, Lily. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you didn't hit the thumbs up button, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, make sure you go connect with Sherise. The resources, the nutritional resources are down in the show notes as well, along with Sherise's way to how to connect with her. Thanking everybody for being here. Thank you so much. And we will see you Thursday for Chiropractic is Sexy. And I'll see you next Sunday for Sunday Night Live for health trend number 4. I don't remember what it is, but just health trend number 4. We're going to do that. Okay. All right. See you guys. Love you so much. Thanks for being here.